UFC QATAR is happening this weekend. We got some nice back-to-back UFC cards finally. We got out of that drought. Gabriel Bonfim versus fucking, who was it, Randy Brown. Absolute disgrace. That shit's fun. Steve Garcia versus David Onama as the main event. Absolute disgrace. But now we got UFC QATAR. We got Arman Tsarukyan versus Dan Hooker in the main event. We got Ian Gary versus Bilal Muhammad in the co-main event. We also got Volkan Oezdemir versus Alonzo Menifield. We got Tagir Ulanbekov versus Kiori Horiguchi. Who else we got? I don't really remember, but that's who we got. We got Orobly versus Jack Hermanson as well. Got some nice cards in the main fucking card. All ranked fighters, I believe. All ranked fighters, I believe, except Kiori Horiguchi, which he's new to the UFC. Nice. You know, you see we can fucking do these for these certain cards, you know, the Middle Eastern certain type of cards. You guys want to fucking stack it. But everywhere else, you know, just fuck it. Fuck the fans. Whatever, man. At least we're getting this nice card. It's finally happening. The time's finally here. UFC QATAR. Now, I'm going to give you my predictions on these fights. Probably just a co-main and main event. I'm just going to give you a prediction. See if I'm right. Tagir Ulanbekov, though, I will give you, like, quick picks. Tagir Ulanbekov versus Kiori Horiguchi. I'm picking Tagir because Kiori is pretty old now. He used to be in the UFC. He went to ONE FC. Now he got, you know, he's pretty good. But I think Tagir is going to beat him. And then Jack Hermanson versus Orobly, you know, lighter man scale. I believe Orobly is going to win. And Jack Hermanson's coming down from 185 to 170. That's a big fucking weight. That's a big weight cut. And he's a big-ass guy. So I'm not too sure how he's going to look on the scales. And then who else? Volkan Oezdemir versus Alonzo Menifield. I'm picking Volkan Oezdemir, man. Alonzo Menifield is pretty fucking shit. And that just shows how bad Omar Sy is. Because if you lose to Alonzo Menifield, you're pretty shit. Alonzo Menifield, you know, he got KO power, but Volkan Oezdemir has that skill. Volkan is a little chinny, but, you know, he's got some skill. Now, we're going to talk about the co-main event. Ian Gary versus Bilal Muhammad. Holy shit. This is going to be in the... When I seen this was announced on the same card as Arman Tsarukyan versus Dan Hooker, I was surprised this shit wasn't 5 rounds. Why? Why not 5 rounds, man? I don't get it. When you have such a like a big contender matchup like this, why not make it 5 rounds? I believe they made some BS 5 rounds before. Bilal Muhammad versus Gilbert Burns. They made that 5 rounds, and then it was a pretty bad fight. So why can't you make the Ian Gary fight 5 rounds, you know? Piece him up for a little longer, maybe even get a finish. That's who I'm picking, though. Ian Gary. I'm picking Ian Gary to win against Bilal Muhammad. So after seeing this performance of Jack Della Maddalena versus Islam Makhachev, I came to the conclusion that Bilal ain't shit. So if Jack's stuffing every single one of your takedowns, and even when you get a takedown, you can't just keep him down, you're not keeping down Ian Gary, man. Ian Gary had that test against Shavkat, and I believe now Shavkat's a better fucking grappler than Bilal Muhammad. So you survived Shavkat, and yes, you survived Shavkat in his takedown attempts. Ian Gary, I used to think he was pretty frail, and when he fought Shavkat, I'm like, oh, this is it. He's about to get fraud checked. He's about to get cooked. Not really fraud checked because, you know, Shavkat's it, but you know the term. We throw the term loosely, fraud checked. I thought he was about to get fucked up though. So he proved me wrong, man. I mean, he had a really close fight with Shavkat, and you know, I don't think that Shavkat fight really diminished him in any way. I think it just made him look better. So I'm picking Ian Gary versus Bilal Muhammad. I'm picking him to absolutely destroy Bilal Muhammad. Probably, knowing Ian Gary, probably 3rd round TKO. Honestly, this is a 3-round fight, so what am I saying TKO? It's a 3-round fight. So I'm picking Ian Gary by decision. I'm picking Ian Gary by unanimous decision. I think he's going to piece him up every single round. And if you finish Bilal, credit to you, man. You're getting the next title shot 100%. Do I think you'll win against Islam? No, man. As we realize, Islam is a cheat code, and he's a roid freak. He's a roid freak with a roided up back, and, you know, he's just a fucking freak of nature. So you're not going to beat him, especially when you're a little frail Ian Gary like that. You're just going to get held down. Maybe not finished, but you're going to get held down for 5 rounds. Main event. Arman Tsarukyan versus Dan Hooker. I mean, who's picking Dan Hooker, man? The only time where I would possibly see a Dan Hooker pick was against Mateus Gamrot. Like, when it comes to these, like, matchups where he's just such an underdog. The one with Mateus Gamrot I seen where he could have possibly won, and he did win. You know, it could have gone either way. You know, a split decision could have gone either way, but Dan Hooker did win that fight, and that's why he's in this position right now, mostly based off his Mateus Gamrot win, which is a really good win. Not really aging too well now that, you know, fucking Charles Oliveira just smoked him in one round. But I'm picking Arman Tsarukyan, man. And if I'm picking Arman Tsarukyan, if Arman can do the same shit Islam did to Dan Hooker, then that just makes the Ilia Topuria matchup even better. So I don't know why, man. I don't know why I can see him literally mimicking the same performance that Islam had against Dan Hooker. But Dan Hooker did come in on like 2 weeks' notice in that fight. So, man, I see Arman Tsarukyan winning. I think he's going to finish Dan Hooker, really. I think he's going to finish Dan Hooker. And if he doesn't finish Dan Hooker, I think he's in for a fucking crazy fight in the 5 rounds. Every time Dan Hooker fights, man, we know it's going to be an insane fight. And the fact that he didn't fight Justin Gaethje, which is really depressing to me, man. Because we could have seen that absolutely banger fight. They could have both got brain damage for us. And, you know, Dan Hooker had to fucking pull out. What was it, a broken hand, I believe? Oh, motherfucker always breaking his hand and shit. But yeah, man, that being said, I'm picking Arman Tsarukyan. I'm picking him by probably 2nd or 3rd round submission, man. Submission. I was thinking TKO, but no, I'm thinking submission now. Round 2 or 3 submission. Unfortunately, Dan Hooker, you know, it was nice having you here. It was nice having you, you know, resurge into the top of the division again after, you know, losing to Michael Chandler and then Islam. But, man, nothing really else much to say. This whole card is pretty good, in my opinion. Even the prelims are stacked as well. We got Luke Riley debuting on the prelims, finally debuting. He got signed back in March, I believe, and now he's finally making his debut. I don't know if that's the UFC or if that's Luke Riley, but, you know, he's facing, Bogdan Grad, the bald motherfucker. Yeah, man, there's not really much else to say. The Dawn has spoken.